welcome back to the Samantha Marie podcast, where we talk about everything mental, spiritual, and emotional wellness, because my mission is to help you create a life that you truly love. And today, guys, I am going to share a little bit about my experience of going skydiving recently. It was wild. I am still shocked that I actually did it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and actually how it was lining up with some things that I had been processing in my personal life, and the power of our thoughts and our mind, and just some things I've been reflecting on is kind of what I want to go into today. So thank you for being here with me. And before we jump into it, I just want to remind you, if you don't already, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Hey It's Samantha Marie, where you can get updates on everything that's going on with the show. And also, if you listen on Apple or Spotify, if you could rate the show, if you could write a review, that would mean so much to me. That's how we grow. That's how we reach more people. And I'm also on YouTube. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. All my links are below, and you'll get all the video footage there. I personally love watching podcasts on YouTube, like over dinner or whatever, sitting on the couch. So anyway, all the links are below. And thank you guys. I appreciate you. Let's jump into it. So yes, guys, you heard me correctly. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you probably don't know, but I went skydiving recently and it was just wild. I literally never, I told my friends, I told my family I would never go skydiving because I went parasailing probably like 5 or 6 years ago when I was in Florida. And I actually wanted to go. And then as the parasail was getting higher and higher, I literally started freaking out. I had a panic attack. All I was thinking about was this harness is going to break and I'm going to fall. And I read some article about when you fall X amount of feet above the water, it's like hitting concrete. And I went into like a full-blown panic. I was screaming for the parasail people to get me down right now, but then I realized they couldn't hear me. And then I just went into a state of shock and total surrender because I knew there was nothing I could do to get me down. I was literally freaking out. And then after that, I literally said, I will never go skydiving. I'll never go in a hot air balloon. I will never go parasailing again. So I literally am shocked that I went skydiving. And so, of course, there is a new influence in my life. If you've been listening to the show, you know I have a new boyfriend, and he's an adventurous guy. So on his bucket list this year, he said by the end of the year, I'm going skydiving. And he was supposed to go with one of his friends, but that friend apparently moved to a different state. And he was like, listen, I'm going skydiving. And you can come with me or you cannot. So it's up to you. And when he first brought it up to me, I literally was like, okay, let me think about it. But in my mind, I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I was like praying and hoping that he would just forget about it. And so he then, I didn't respond for like a week after him asking me that question. And then about a week later, he was like, so did you think about skydiving yet? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it more. And I literally did that to him like 2 or 3 times. And then finally he got like a Groupon he found like a Groupon for skydiving. And he's like, tonight the Groupon ends. So we have to buy tonight if we're going to go. And he was like, I'm just letting you know, you don't have to, but I'm going to book it. So it's up to you if you want to come with me. And something came over me that night, but I thought to myself, okay, this is obviously one of my biggest fears, free falling. Which is interesting because as a kid, my parents took us to Cedar Point every year. My brother and I, we loved roller coasters. We would always go on the biggest roller coasters and I had no problem. And then it's as I get older, I just get in my head and I think about all the things that could happen. So now when I go on roller coasters, I still enjoy them, but I'm thinking this roller coaster could break down. I could fall out. Is the harness on right? You know, I'm thinking the roller coaster can fall over and we could all die. Like I'm thinking worst case scenario. So anyway, I said to myself, okay, there are studies that show when you face your fears, when you face your greatest fears, you realize that you can do so much, that you can overcome so much. And there's also something about being in like a life or death situation that really causes you to wake up to the reality of life, and it's like this awakening that comes over you. And my mom's probably like rolling her eyes as she's listening to this because she was like super mad at me for going. Not like actually mad at me, but kind of at the same time. And because she has the same fear as me. So her and I told my cousin about it before, and they were so worried. And after I told them, I was like, I'm not telling anyone else because they're starting to freak me out. But anyway, so I realized, okay, so people actually will like sit on the edge of like a cliff, and they have that adrenaline rush of, oh my gosh, if I literally like fall over this cliff, I could die. And I'm not telling you to do that. Like, don't put yourself in life or death situations. But when you're like on the edge of that feeling of, wow, life is precious and every moment matters, and literally every second of our life is a blessing. So when we put ourselves in those types of situations, and again, I'm not saying put yourself in like a dangerous situation. I'm not going to put myself in a dangerous situation. And my mom's probably, again, rolling her eyes at that statement because some people may say skydiving is dangerous. But anyway, I said to myself, wow, okay, if I can overcome this, then I feel like I can overcome anything. And I started to look at it as like a mind exercise. Okay, like where is this fear coming from? What thoughts am I agreeing with? What beliefs am I believing about this experience? And how can I turn that around? How can I believe the positive parts of the experience? And how can I mentally equip myself for this experience? So I kind of looked at it as, okay, this is going to be a brain exercise for me. This is going to be a courage exercise for me. And this is going to be an experience where I can learn to overcome my fears, which I know will build that muscle in the future for anything that life brings at me, anything that God asks me to do. Like, this is just a way to build that muscle. And also, I really wanted to just have that fun experience with my boyfriend. And I knew that this is probably like a once in a lifetime thing. I don't plan to go skydiving again. I don't want to go skydiving again, but it was awesome. So when I made that decision, I was like, I also just want to have fun and spend that time with my boyfriend and just have a good time, right? So overall, one thing that I really learned through this experience, and I've known this, but it really came back up for me, and it was a great reminder of the power that our thoughts have over our reality and how we can actually change our thoughts, because not all of our thoughts are true. Not all of our thoughts are valid. And it's good to always stop and observe our thoughts, because there are reactions that come, emotional reactions, emotional feelings that come from the thoughts that we're believing. And so I had been actually experiencing some things in my personal life that was causing me to really sit back and evaluate my thinking in situations. So just first, like as an example for skydiving, so leading up to the experience, I was evaluating the fear that I had. Like, what really was the root of the fear that I had as far as free falling and skydiving? And my fear was surrounded around, okay, the parachute's gonna break. The parachute's not going to work. I'm going to fall to the ground and die, which honestly is a reality that could take place with skydiving, right? But I also said, okay, what else is true about the situation? And what I realized is that one, I would be skydiving with an expert. This guy has been doing it for years and years, and he also wants to be safe because he doesn't want to die. There are thousands of people that skydive every year. And also there are studies that show that driving a car is actually more dangerous than skydiving. And the other things that were true about the situation was This is a once in a lifetime experience. This is something that could be fun and exhilarating and would be a great experience to do with my boyfriend. So there were all these good things that were true about the situation that I could partner with and that I could believe in. And then there were these valid concerns about the situation, and that was leading to my fear. That was really the root of my fear. But I was able to sit back and observe and say, okay, I actually feel comfortable with the truth of the positives of the experience, that, okay, I can trust this expert. I can trust that because thousands of people skydive every year, like, I'm going to be safe. And hey, if it's my time to go, then that's up to God. And maybe it is my time to go. But I was believing that it's not my time to go. I'm going to be safe. This is going to be a fun experience and it's going to be exciting. And then I can say I went skydiving. So then leading up to the experience, I started agreeing with those thoughts. And throughout the week, I was saying, I'm excited to go skydiving. This is going to be a great experience. This is a once in a lifetime experience. I'm going with an expert and this is going to be fun. So I was literally like talking these things out loud to myself all week. And I also guarded, again, like who I was sharing this with. Because I think that's the thing where when we start telling people maybe dreams that we put on our heart, or maybe God starts like nudging you to start something like a business or a new ministry, or maybe he wants you to start serving in a certain area, or apply for a different job or move to a different state, whatever it is, sometimes information is only for us. And sometimes when we tell other people, like, they start putting their emotions on us, and we all do it to each other, or they start putting their fears on us, and that can kind of impact where God is calling us to move into. And skydiving I'm just using that as like an analogy. But I realized, okay, I'm going to stop telling everyone about this because it's freaking me out more, and it's not helping my mind exercise because they're getting scared and they're getting nervous. So I'm just going to keep this to myself right now and just like, motivate myself and inspire myself to get through this experience, and then I'll share with more people after I do it. But I'm saying that to say it also makes me realize in life, again, when we are feeling called to do something, sometimes it's not for everyone. Sometimes it's just information for you in that moment, and maybe a few really close people that you trust. And until you start moving in that, because you don't want someone to talk you out of what you're feeling called to do. So anyway, I started partnering with the positive beliefs the positive thoughts regarding skydiving. And I started choosing to believe those. This is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. This is a once in a lifetime experience. This is going to be a cool experience with my boyfriend. I am going with an expert. It is more dangerous to drive than go skydiving. I am safe. So I started partnering with these thoughts, and leading up to that experience, I actually felt excitement about it. A few days before, I'm like, ooh, this is going to be fun. And I'm like, whoa, like, I completely changed how I was feeling regarding the experience. And I remember even that morning, I felt very calm. I felt excited, and I literally didn't feel scared. Like, it was wild, guys. I didn't feel scared. So it just reminded me of like the power of our mind, and the power that we have to observe our thoughts and decide what thoughts are we going to agree with here. Because a lot of times our thoughts are distorted, right? By maybe past experiences or things that we've heard before, but it's so important to evaluate our thoughts. And again, I've been kind of observing this in my personal life. And so I actually have this app called Clarity, and it's really good to like help you process your emotions and it helps you reflect on your thinking and your thoughts. And it really is, the purpose of it is to help you have a healthy relationship with yourself, help you heal, help you learn how to communicate properly, and like help you even communicate in relationships and observe your thoughts as far as having healthier relationships and everything. And so it's really helpful, and it talks a lot about like cognitive therapy and all that stuff. But one thing that has been really helping me is I read in the app about something called the ABC theory, and it's a technique that they use in cognitive behavioral therapy. And basically, the ABC theory, it helps us understand the thoughts that influence our emotions and behaviors. So it helps people break down emotional responses and identify patterns that may be holding them back from more peace and healthy relationships. And this has really been helping me lately because basically, so the example that they use in the app to help you understand what the ABC method is A stands for activating event. So, and then B stands for belief and C stands for consequence. Okay. So do you ever have those days where you think you're like further along emotionally than you are? You're like, I'm so at peace. I'm so happy. I'm so chill. Like I have grown. And like we probably have, right? But then like someone cuts you off in traffic and you like completely go nuts on them, or someone at work rubs you the wrong way and you react quickly and emotionally and say things that you wish you wouldn't have said, or it's like, whoa, like, and then after you feel kind of stupid because you're like, how could I have reacted that way? Like, I thought I was better than that, but like that person just really irritated you and you like quick fired right away. So anyway, this is what this helps with is there are activating events in our life. So the example that the app uses is someone doesn't respond to your text. Okay. So say it's a friend or even like a boyfriend that doesn't respond to your text right away. Okay. So that's an activating event. And the belief that you may have is that if it's your friend, like they must be mad about something. They must not want to be my friend anymore. And now you completely like ghost them and don't ever reach out to them again. Or if it's your boyfriend that hasn't responded to you, you immediately go to like, he's pulling away from me. He doesn't love me. He's rejecting me. And then the consequence, so that's A is activating event, B is belief, and then the consequence is that you feel angry, you feel rejected, you feel anxiety, maybe you lash out on this person, maybe you go silent on them, maybe you have an attitude with them. So anyway, I think we all have these moments where we react like very emotionally or harshly in a situation. And maybe later we're like, was that really valid? Like, what was going on there? Or maybe we feel like dumb about it, or we feel bad about some things we said or how we reacted. And I love this technique because what we can do is we can go into the activating event. We can say, okay, so your friend didn't respond right away. Your boyfriend didn't respond right away. And what are you believing about this situation? What is the belief, the core belief? And are they mad at, maybe you think they're mad. You think they're pulling away. You think they don't want to be with you anymore. But is that really true? And then you ask yourself, like, what else could be true about this situation? So on the flip side, what else could be true is that this person is busy. This person is working. This person maybe your friend has children and she's running around, chasing around 4 kids, and she hasn't been able to respond to your text. So there's a lot of different things that could be true about the situation. And when that activating event hits, you can evaluate your belief. Okay, what am I believing about this situation? And then you can decide, what am I going to believe? So you could either go down this whole spiral of they're pulling away from me. They don't want to be with me anymore. They don't want to be friends with me anymore. Or you could choose to say, okay, I'm going to believe that they're busy. I'm going to believe that they love me. I'm going to believe that we're good, and we're just going to talk later. And I'm just going to get on with my day, and I won't worry about it because we're going to catch up later tonight. And that completely just takes down the anxiety, takes down the anger, completely gets you out of the spiral mode and jumping to assumptions and jumping to conclusions. And then the consequence is that you just get on with your day and you just have a peaceful and chill day. And if you're concerned about something, you can talk it out with that person in a mature way at a later time. Okay? And so the ABC method, I think is so interesting. And I have really been reflecting on this just in my personal life with my reactions and different relationships. And we could do this with family relationships or friendships or romantic relationships. It's always good to observe, are my thoughts true in this situation? Because a lot of times the thoughts that we have are not true and are not valid. So it's always good to observe and then give yourself other options. Like, what else could be true about this situation, and what am I going to partner with? Because your thoughts determine your reality. Your thoughts also have consequences if you let your thoughts just run your life. We need to be able to go into those thoughts and say, is this true or is this not? So anyway, the skydiving experience just completely proved this true, that we have the power to change our thoughts. We have the power to change our reality. And so it doesn't mean I wasn't scared at all going skydiving. So I really built myself up to go. And I did feel really calm the day of, and I felt really great, but I still felt, okay, so I actually loved the free falling. So I went up in the plane and I was just meditating and I was just like praying, and I'm like, Lord, I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to go for it. I know I'm safe. And so I actually really loved like falling out of the plane. Like it was just a wild, like euphoric experience. Like when can you ever just free fall like that? And so it felt like I was flying, like I could just see the ground below me and I could just see so much of the earth and the sky and the sun. And I was just free falling and I felt like a bird or something. And it was honestly awesome. But then when the parachute went off, I was fine when it went off, or when it went up, or whatever you want to call it, when it came out, or I don't know how to say it. But the parachute got set off, and then you're dangling probably like 4,000 to 5,000 feet up in the air. And I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. And immediately my thoughts started coming in. And that is what got me, was the parachute. I was just dangling there, slowly going down. And I remember the expert, like, do you want to guide the parachute? Because you can kind of guide if you want. You could do like some turns and stuff. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, no. And so the expert was asking me if I was okay. And I was like, no, I'm not okay. And so I immediately just went into like a deep meditation. So I closed my eyes. I was like, I cannot look down. And I just went into a deep meditation. I just concentrated on God and just like the very present moment that I was in. And then I was just like deep breathing. And I was like, I know it's only going to be a couple minutes. This is temporary. I'm going to get through this. I can do hard things. We got this. And I was just in focus mode, like complete meditation, complete focus mode. And so after that experience, like after we landed, finally I started to feel better once we got closer to the ground. So then I could finally open my eyes and kind of enjoy the rest of the way down. So it ended up being good. And overall, like I got down and I was like hugging the ground. I'm like, thank God I made it. But I was very proud of myself for making it and getting through it. But after that really stuck out to me, how I went into like this deep meditation and telling myself this is temporary, and focusing on my breath and praying. And I thought, wow, like what what self-regulation tools do we have available to us when life gets hard, when we go through hard things, when we go through things that we're scared of or nervous about, or when we get triggered. Like I was totally triggered back to this, the parasailing moment that I had like 5-6 years prior. So how I experienced or how I got through this experience was completely different from how I was back then. Back then, I completely went into panic. I was screaming. I was telling them, let me down. In this situation, I was like, okay, complete zen. And we're going to get through this. I talked myself through it. We did this deep meditation, deep breathing, and I got through it. But I wanted to ask you today, like, what tools are in your back pocket for when you do go through hard things? For when you feel like I'm not going to survive this, for when you feel like I can't get through this, like what do we have available to us that will help us through it and will empower us to get through those hard times? And so I think there's two things. We want to be proactive with self-regulation and self-comfort and doing what we can in our everyday life to feel our best and to bring the most peace to our life, so that when hard things come up, so that when someone cuts you off in traffic, so that when that friend maybe has an attitude with you one day, or that person at work rubs you the wrong way, so that we can react in the most mature way, the most healthy way we can. So there's proactive things that we can do daily to help with that, to really just be happy with that within ourselves, so we react better to basically all life situations. And then also, secondly, there are things that we can do just in the moment, because sometimes, listen, life just happens and we go right back to who we were 5 years ago, and that person cuts us off and it's just not our day, and we freak out and we flip them off and we do things that we never thought we would, okay? So there also are things that we can be prepared with, tools that when those things happen, that will kind of snap us back to reality and who we are today and responding in a more healthy way. So before we get even into those examples, I just want to say that also I think when we go through hard things, sometimes our first reaction, and maybe not even when we go through hard things, even just life, a lot of times we want to just cling to other people to get us through those hard times or get us through life in general. Like a lot of times, like even for single people, like I know I struggled with this for a while. I was like, I'm not going to be happy until I have a partner. I am not going to be fulfilled until I have a partner. And maybe some of you struggle with that. And so what I thought was interesting was, my boyfriend and I, we went together skydiving, and we thought we were going to be in the same plane together. And that brought me more comfort too. I'm like, Javin's going to be with me. I'm going to be okay. If he's there, like I'm going to feel better. And so we get there and they told us we had to go in separate planes. And I was like, what? I'm going to have to go on a separate plane? Like, as if Javin, he's not even like a skydiving expert. So it's not like he would be able to like save me if something happened. But for some reason, I just felt more comfort having him there. And so we realized, yes, we couldn't go together. And then immediately I just knew, like, God was like, you have to do this by yourself, because there's going to be things in life that you can't just rely on him to be your comfort for, to be your all. Like you have to do things on your own, just you and God. And I'm not saying that like relationships in our life, we need friends, we need community. And the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. Like when you are in a relationship or in a marriage or in whatever, like it's important. Like we need those relationships in our life, right? But there are things that only you can do that are important as far as like self-comfort and self-regulation and self-love. Like if we don't have those tools, and if we don't have love for ourselves, and if we're not able to look within for comfort in hard times and it's going to be very hard because it's so much pressure to put on other people to be our comfort, to be our all, to make us happy. Like that is what causes a lot of toxic relationships. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about toxic family dynamics and toxic friendships when you're constantly putting your needs on everyone else to fulfill that hole that you have inside of you. And really, the only person that can fulfill that hole is God and that relationship you have with yourself and God. And from there, if that's strong, then we can have healthy relationships. We can have healthy romantic relationships and healthy friendships and healthy family boundaries and dynamics. And so anyway, that was like a little lesson in there too. And then when the parachute was going off, also, when I went into panic mode, I asked the expert, I was like, can I hold on to your arm? Because I was freaking out. Like if the harness breaks, then at least I was thinking if the harness breaks, I can hold on to him and I'll be holding on to him so I could still survive. Like this is what's going on in my head. And the expert was like, no, just hold on to the parachute because that's safer for you. And that was just another example, like, girl, like some things you just have to do alone. Like other people can't always be your comfort, can't always be who you run to. Like you got to run to the Lord and you got to run to that relationship with yourself first, above all. So anyway, this made me think about like, what are the self-regulation, proactive things that you are doing in your life to create a life of peace and joy and to be in the best place possible with yourself and with you and God. Like, how can we proactively do things in our day-to-day life to respond better when life happens and respond better when things don't go our way? Because the reality is that's life. Like things aren't going to go our way. So what can we do in our day-to-day life to help to make life more joyful? And so, I mean, you guys hear me talk all the time, but proactive, I think there's so many things. And just for me personally, I believe in like eating healthy is so important to me and how I feel with my own relationship and my relationship with God and my relationship with others. When I am eating healthy, I feel my best. And moving my body is so important on a day-to-day basis because it enhances those happy hormones. It gets those happy hormones going and flowing, and it puts us in just an overall better mood and just better energy in general. And creating boundaries with, again, it's not just like romantic partners, but like family boundaries. And I have a friend that's walking through like her in-laws situation is just like very toxic situation. So she has to put like extreme boundaries in place. But having boundaries with like who you're allowing close to you, what friendships are you allowing close to you, who are you allowing close to you as far as dating? Like, are you just dating any old person that is bringing you down, that is pulling you back? Like, what boundaries are you setting in place to protect your energy, to protect your mental health and your emotional needs? What hobbies are you doing on a regular basis? What are you keeping your home tidy? Because our home being tidy is helping to clear the mind and to feel our best in our home, right? And so anyway, those are just examples of like proactive things. So I would just maybe recommend like, what are proactive things that you're doing in your daily life that help enhance your life, that help bring more peace to your life, that help you respond to life in the healthiest way, that help you connect with yourself and to feel your best so that you can have these healthy friendships and romantic relationships and family relationships. And so some reactive examples of self-regulation. So when we're in the moment and we get triggered by something and we go off and we go back to that person we were 5-10 years ago and we're like, whoa, where did this come from? Where did that reaction come from? Because that will happen. Like, we're human and sometimes things just don't go our way and it triggers us and we start acting like we did long ago where we thought we were beyond that. That literally happened to me recently. And I was like, girl, I thought we were beyond this. Like, what is happening? So then there's going to be times that we just get triggered and we act in a way that we are not proud of. And we ask ourselves, like, I thought I was beyond this. Like, what? How am I reacting like this still? This happened to me recently where I was like, oh my gosh, girl, like, I thought we dealt with this. I thought we were beyond this. Like, why are you reacting like this? Where is this coming from? And my therapist gave me some really good advice. And she said that when you are in a spiral, like when something sets you off, going back to the ABC model, when there is an activating event, like say we'll go back to the example of someone not responding to your text. So when there's an activating event, your brain can take over and you automatically shoot back in time to a traumatic event, maybe from years ago. And then you act in the same way you did years ago before you put in all the work, and you go right back to that same person. And she said that that is basically an example of like your body going back in time to how you would have reacted before. So there's certain things like in that moment, it's really hard to stop that reaction. And she, like all those proactive things that we talked about, observing our thoughts and the daily habits, like those take us far. Like those are really good. But sometimes in the moment, there's literally like your brain just stops working and your body takes over and you just react and you just go and you can't help like what's spewing out of your mouth. So she said, when you feel yourself getting triggered, like your body, you feel that feeling of like, oh no, like this is bad. Like this is going to be bad. Like I'm going to go off on this person. She said there's a 2-step process to regulate your body. And I loved this, guys. So she said, 1, the quickest way to regulate your body is through cold. So she said, put a cold, like an ice cube under your tongue. She said, go outside in the winter, like go in the snow. She said, splash cold water on your face. She said, like, go take a cold shower. She was like, this immediately shuts down the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for processing emotions. And it stores those traumatic events from the past. So, cold is the quickest way to regulate your body, to shut down your amygdala. And I thought that was so cool because it's like actually practical advice that we can take when we feel triggered or we feel like someone completely, like something happened, not just someone, but when something happened and we're having this like immediate emotional reaction and our body is dysregulated and we don't know what to do. We don't know how to respond and we immediately get anxiety and stress. And so I love that, like cold. That's so simple. Like find something cold, go out in the cold, and immediately you can just feel your body rest and regulate. And then the second thing is, she said, bring yourself back to the present. So like she explained, the amygdala stores events from our past. And so we sometimes will go back immediately like 10, 20 years into our past and react the same way, even if we've done like a bunch of work to move forward. And she said, once you've done the cold thing, once you've regulated your body, another way to regulate your body even more is to bring yourself back to the present. So literally stating out loud, my name is Samantha Vignew. It's 2025. I have Jesus in my life. I am a loving person. I work at X company. I have a podcast. My dog's name is Ginny. So bringing yourself back to the present And it kind of brings yourself back to reality. Like, I respond healthy to life circumstances. I deal with things better than I used to. I'm not going to have an unhealthy reaction to this situation. And then once we regulate our body, then we can go into that ABC model that we talked about before. We can then start to observe our thoughts. Are the thoughts that I'm thinking true? Are there other thoughts that could be true about this situation? So, I loved these reactive things that we could do when we're in the moment because they're so practical. And I know that they're going to be helpful for me in the future. And I really hope they're helpful for you too. So anyway, guys, skydiving was an awesome experience. I loved it, even though there were times that were really scary and I really just had to trust the process. But that's just life, right? And so I just think it was a great reminder that life with God, especially like life with Jesus, it's kind of like free falling. It's kind of like skydiving, guys. Like, when you really and truly give your life to Christ, it is like, Lord, take me. Like, I don't care where we're going, take me. I want what you want. Like, I don't want what I want anymore. I've been there. I've done what I wanted before, and it's not something I ever want to do again. So, Lord, I want to be with the person you want me to be with. I want to live in the place you want me to live. I want to work at the place you want me to work. I want to be at the church you want me to be at. I want to do what you want me to do. I want to be who you want me to be. And that sometimes can feel like free falling, guys. It's not always fun to not be able to do what you want. And God's not forcing us. It's a choice. And it takes a lot of trust and a lot of obedience. And we don't have to know all the answers. We don't have to know the process. All we need to do is know that God knows. So that's enough. And it doesn't even matter what the outcome is. Like, I have made a decision to trust the Lord with my life. So I am going to follow him and I am going to do what he asked me to do, go where he asked me to go, and be the person he asked me to be. And Proverbs 3:5, I wanted to end with. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. And I think that's the thing that's just so hopeful about all this is, yes, sometimes it can feel like you're free falling with God. Sometimes it can feel scary. Sometimes it's like, Lord, what's going on with my life? Where are we going? Why do I have to go through this? What is happening? But the cool thing is when you truly are putting the Lord first, he will make your path straight. So it does not matter what the circumstances is. You don't have to try to figure it all out. Like, all you have to do is surrender. Just like if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll see the video of me free falling. Just like that, just put your arms up and say, Lord, I am completely free falling with you. And it's so cool because we just know he's making our path straight. He's taking you exactly where you need to be. He's molding you. He's shaping you. He is building your character. Like, there are so many reasons that he has for where you are right now. That he gave you the upbringing that you have. That he gave you the experiences that you have. That he has you exactly where you are right now. There are so many reasons that are beyond our comprehension, and it's not our job to understand it. All we have to do is free fall with him, and he will bring you safely to your destination, and he will protect you and meet all your needs right in here, right now. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I appreciate all of you. I love you, and I'm praying for you. And before we go, I just want to remind you, if you don't already, make sure to follow me at Hey It's Samantha Marie on TikTok and Instagram. And I'm also on YouTube. You can watch every episode there. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share with a family member, with a friend. And if you could rate the show on Apple or Spotify, I would so much appreciate it. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day and see you soon.